Yes, it was Conor. The girl was sexually assaulted and physically assaulted. At one stage, Conor was even choking her. She was bloodied, and according to a friend who knows the family, she was sodomized. She had turned down Conor's advances and embarrassed him in front of gangland goons, and when she slapped him, he exploded in rage. This is coming from someone who loved McGregor, who came from an area around the corner from where McGregor once lived, who has met McGregor and knows many of his current friends personally. I could write so much more. But on what McGregor has done in Dublin, but it's best to stick to what's in the public domain. She turned Conor McGregor's advances. She turned Conor McGregor down. That embarrassed him, see? And she slapped him. And nobody tells the king, no. You don't come at the king. You don't come at the king. Brutally assaulting someone, the company he keeps, are some of the most violent people in Dublin City. Remember when Conor McGregor talked about the law of attraction and surround your people with the type person you want to become? Conor McGregor surrounded himself with violent criminals, drug addicts, drunks. And that's what Conor McGregor became. He continues to do coke. And he tries to bust his nut with a girl. Eventually he leaves and turns up at the hospital off his head not long after he's back partying again. See? Conor McGregor was in a crack house while D. Devlin was having a baby. That second baby, Conor McGregor was in a crack house and his bodyguards were beating on the door. And they were saying, Conor, come on, D's having a baby right this minute. Finally, they get Conor McGregor to the door and they help him to the car. And they rush to the hospital and they, help Conor McGregor walk in. He's stumbling around. His hair's messed up. His hair's all messed up and his eyes are bugged out and he's gibbering and he's got slobber running down both sides of his mouth and he's got crust in his eyes. And his eyes are all black around his eyes where he hadn't slept for 2 or 3 days. His shirt's messed up where he's puked on himself. He stinks. D. Devlin's laying there in the bed and there she's holding her little baby girl and there's her mom and daddy and her sisters. And there's Conor McGregor walks in, pushes the baby out and says, hey, I got something to do. You see, she goes back home with her mother and dad because that's, she's living with her parents. She's not living with Conor. She can't live with Conor McGregor. He's a monster. He's violent. She can't have her children around Conor McGregor. So she just says, okay, I'm going back to mom and dad's or to my sister's. Conor McGregor didn't say shit. He just, his bodyguards are just carrying his ass out to the car, carrying him back to the crack house. Conor McGregor gives a shit.